Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking another look at that upcoming snowstorm for the Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, and Northeastern United States. We're also going to be taking a look at some of those snowstorms expected for the Northwestern and North Central United States, and then a huge pattern change in the United States, which is going to lead towards a ton of cold in the eastern half of the country. Anyways, before I get into things, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think that this will be the last snowstorm we have in the east for quite a while, or do you think we're going to stay in a snowy pattern considering how much cold we're going to end up having? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we have multiple different things to talk about here on our current radar. First off, we have this snowstorm up here in the northwestern United States. We have another snowstorm up here in the north central United States that you can see. Then we actually have an area of showers along the eastern seaboard here that you can spot. And this is actually leading towards snowfall in southern New England and portions of the mid-Atlantic that we'll take a look at in just a moment. So let's move straight up into the northwestern United States here. First things first, and you can see originally we had a lot of this precipitation located in here yesterday. Clearly that area has moved further and further eastward, so we're seeing a lot of that here for the Rockies and some of the surrounding areas there in eastern Washington, eastern Oregon, portions of Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Nevada, Utah, and even Colorado is seeing some snow showers as well. So a lot of these Rocky Mountain states are seeing that snowfall at this point. Now, that's not to say that there's not precipitation along the western seaboard here, because we do see for the western regions there of Washington, Oregon, and California, or I guess the northern regions of California, we are seeing a lot of that precipitation still around. And even as you look offshore, we do have some of that precipitation still to come for these regions. So we're going to be watching closely for that. Let's move up into the north central United States here. We can see that there is a low pressure system of sorts somewhere in here, and this has a lot of precipitation along it. We can see tons and tons of snowfall, kind of on the more light to moderate side of things, I would say, here for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, even the Lower Peninsula, Michigan getting involved there as well. As you can see, that's really picked up over the past few hours, and that is leading towards quite a bit of snowfall for these regions, and this storm will eventually move out. So we're going to see this slowly but surely move out, but this is probably leading towards some accumulation up there in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. If you're in that region, let us know how things are going for your area. Let's take a look at this eastern seaboard area here and see what's going on. We can see some rainfall down here for a lot of the mid-Atlantic and the southeast. But up here where it's just a little bit colder, we are seeing some of those snow showers for this region. We're going to have to watch that closely. It looks like some of them are very heavy. Let's zoom in actually to where they are seeing that snowfall. Let's just zoom in here. Yeah, so for areas in this pocket, and it's going to move further north. So this is going to be moving out of this into areas further north in New England, I would say, towards Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and maybe even Maine a little bit later on. But we are seeing these snowfall showers for eastern Pennsylvania, the state of New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, so the lower regions of New York, basically, up through Connecticut now. Some of those blue areas are actually quite heavy in here near Connecticut mostly. Let's take a look at those. So in this region, we've seen that really pick up here near Hartford. If you take that southward, or Hartford, we have an area in North Carolina near us called Hertford. So, or Hertford, I think. I don't know. I've been there. I should know. But that tends to lead me to mispronounce this area in Connecticut. But we really do have these blues picking up, which is showing heavier snowfall. Probably a lot of you are waking up now, so let me know how the conditions are there as well. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and take a look at that modeled guidance. All right, now here we are taking a look at this modeled guidance now, and this is going to be by mid-morning. This morning, we can see this area of snowfall up here in the northwest. We see the area of snowfall up in the north-central United States, and we see the area of showers here along the eastern seaboard. Let's continue this on. Let's just move this forward and see where things are going to move. You see this one moves up. We do see some snow showers for the northeast here. And also more of the Great Lakes with that one. But really the low pressure system is up in Canada for the most part. Now we do see this snowstorm here elongated, this one that we've seen up here in the northwestern United States and the Rockies. This begins to move into portions of the central United States, and this is what eventually will become our East Coast snowstorm. Now this storm moves out, as you can see, so this one's going to be a non-factor, mostly showers for the most part. We see another storm building in for the northwest. Clearly, at this point, the jet stream looks something like this, with that trough centered about like there. We see a bit of a ridge here for the East Coast, very, very minor. The biggest ridge here is clearly in the northwest here, where a lot of that warmest air is headed. Now, let's zoom into the east real quick. We will backtrack and take a look at what's happening out west, but I want to just feature this because this is probably going to lead towards the most impacts just because it is in the east, which usually means more impactful, even if it's a minor snowstorm. Especially this far south, we see areas like Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, West Virginia in here, Ohio. And the other factor is that we just had a major snowstorm here. So this is going to be on top of what's already there. This is by the time we're reaching about 8 p.m. tomorrow on Thursday. So we are very close to this storm. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this storm trend towards really being a stronger solution. This is what we saw with our previous storm. And usually the trend is your friend. We've seen this low pressure system move just like this, and we see that snowfall mostly in this corridor there. And it's important to note that this could intensify further. I really think that this could just could be stronger because it's right in this time frame where we saw the previous storm intensify. And I really just feel like it might do the same thing. Now, it might not, and it might stay like this, and that would be much more of a moderate snowstorm, but it is striking how close this snowstorm is to being in the same exact position here. It moves just about like this, which is about the same track, and the heaviest snow is looking to be about the same area here now. So we've seen this one trend a little bit further south, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of a trend north and towards a stronger solution over the next really 12 to 18 hours that we have until this one is really getting underway. That is exactly what we saw happen with our previous storm. Now, this is pretty heavy snowfall by this point, but it's just a weaker low pressure system, and it really doesn't begin to strengthen until it reaches about here, where it goes from a 1,000 and something millibar low pressure system to a 996, as you can see there. And this is when we have heavier snowfall in here, and the only difference I would say with this storm versus the other one that is really striking is that this one is moving well up north, whereas our other storm just slid offshore much further south, and that led towards areas north of this line that I'm drawing not really seeing snowfall. But clearly, again, north of this line, we can see lots of snowfalls occurring here on this storm. So that is the biggest difference. Since this one is curving up the coast, we do see more snowfall. And this European model really trends at a lot of snowfall taking place here for southern New England. A lot of the coastal regions, classic nor'easter, strong snowstorm, becomes a 977 millibar low pressure system, actually, matter of fact. Very, very strong. This is by Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and then very, very early on Saturday, it looks like that's when this one will move out. Let's take a look at that total snowfall quickly. And this is kind of what this would lead towards. We can see a dusting, if anything, here in the gray regions. 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. This is what's actually from our snowstorm here. So this is where we would have 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Then there's 2 pockets of 6 to 10 inch regions here. One there for the Appalachian Mountains. We can see West Virginia, portions of Virginia, Kentucky, and then Tennessee there included. And then we also see coastal regions of New England. So Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and then Maine there as well. And we see 2 areas of 10 inches plus in there. One there for kind of the Appalachians again. Mostly West Virginia. Usually that's the best performing area. Let's see. Then we have one there mostly for Maine, but I do see some pockets trying to turn pink there for New Hampshire and Maine, as well as southern Massachusetts, which wouldn't surprise me with that low pressure system bombing out. I mean, really just a bomb cyclone, dropping by well more than I think the 20 millibars required in the 24-hour period, really. Definitely dropping well beyond that, going from a 1,000 millibar system to a 977. It is just dropping significantly over the next couple of days after it's offshore. So that's why I think this area could actually perform a little bit better than what this model is indicating at this point. Let's see what the GFS model has to say as far as total snowfall, and you can see it's a little bit more marginal, but this is a lower resolution model, so really we got to take that with a grain of salt. Canadian model, a little bit stronger here on the western end of things for sure, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, but it has that same, I guess a little bit weaker here, but it still has that heavier corridor there near the coast. Let's take a look and see if we can get the range on our NAM model. Yeah, so this is our NAM model, and this one has a lot more snowfall in here. I actually agree a little bit more with this. I think 10 inches plus for this pocket might be the trend moving forward, but there's not a lot of time to go. This model definitely thinks there will be a lot more snowfall here for Kentucky, a lot of them, I guess Ohio Valley in general. Super, super interesting there. Let's backtrack, okay? Let's backtrack, go to our precipitation type, go back to the European model, and take a look back at that national view. Let's see, where were we? We were right about where that storm started out. So you see that one moves out, and then we really see things dry up in here. That storm kind of comes to an end. I have to switch back to the 0Z run here, but we really see things dry out. We do see some storminess down here because around Saturday into Sunday, we will have a bit of a warm-up that tries to move in. It's going to be very brief, maybe 1 or 2 days in here. Nothing like what we saw in December, but there will be a bit of a warm-up leading towards some nice weather and potentially stormy weather down here. That's why I've been indicating the potential for some minor severe weather down here with that bit of a warm-up. And then once this cold air blasts through, as you can see, now we do have some snowfall potentially in here as that happens along a cold front. That does lead towards potential for a low-pressure system to try to develop along it. We see that happen time and time again, so that is a possibility. This model run does not have that happen, as that would be a much more major storm than what this is showing. This is just back-end cold front stuff, but that is actually what we saw happen with our previous snowstorm just a couple days ago. It was a cold front coming through, and then a low-pressure system develops at the bottom of it and rides up that cold front, and that is what we could see happen here. We could see a low-pressure system try to develop and then move up it, and that would lead towards potential snowfall again for this region. But generally, the crazy thing here is just how strong this pattern is with a massive Arctic blast, really, in the eastern United States. We could see tons and tons of geopotential height lines there that are really leading you to see that there's just tons of Arctic air centered right about there. Let's look at those temperature anomalies real quickly. Yeah, so we're looking at potentially 25 to 30 degrees below normal there. In the upper Midwest, so a true Arctic blast, really. And as we move this through, this does get centered more over the east. So we see this move eastward again. Huge ridge in the west, huge trough in the east. So again, ridge, trough, warm, very cold. Basically the opposite of what we were seeing in December. The only thing here worth mentioning that is disappointing, well, two things. First off, we can't move. Let's see. We got to switch to the 6 hour. My bad. One thing, there's not a lot of precipitation that this model trends at this point. We want to see that change if we want a very snowy pattern in the east, because for now, it seems like it's just going to be cold and dry. As you can see, as I just continue this on, no real storms. I guess there's one they're trying to develop, but that's very, very long range. So we see one minor snowstorm up here for the northeast. We have a very cold pattern for the entire, I guess, 7 to 14 day period. So, or not 7 to 14 days, January 7th to the 15th or so is what I meant to say. We have a very cold pattern in the east, but not a lot of precipitation with it. So we might see that change, but at this point, the cold will be there. If any storms decide to come along, it will be probably a pretty big snowstorm. So we just have to track and see if these models begin to trend at that happening, because as of right now, they do not. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we are at a 4 out of 6. As always, no point in saying anything about it. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what do you think is going to happen with this next snowstorm? And Ronaldo Segura, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, said, I believe this next snowstorm could be more impactful, especially in areas such as New York and New England. I definitely think I agreed, especially with that corridor there in the northeast, like you're specifying. I think the coastal regions there, if this storm intensifies like these models are trending at, down to the 980s and 970s, I think this could be much more impactful than what we're seeing on some of the models. I think the NAM has a pretty good handle on it, and I'm interested to see what we'll be taking a look at by tomorrow morning on the models. I'm super excited, actually. For today's Patreon highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Larry the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, Donna Carnes, as well, alongside our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Quidalessa, Capite, Charles Snit, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Colisi also. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Capite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.